Hey, this is Matt Cox, and this is my first, I want to say bi-weekly vlog. I'm going to try and do like a couple a week. And it's something that I definitely want to do, although I've been putting it off. I don't really know where to start. I don't really want to start with, hey, like what my daily routine is or something when you don't really have some kind of background. So I'm going to basically explain that, fuck. Put this off camera maybe. I don't know if that's off camera or not. I can't see myself. I can't see myself because I had to cover up the view thing, so I would know to look in the camera. So now I have no idea if the fucking thing's even recording. I'm a con man. I ran a bunch of real estate scams, went around the country. I was chased by the fucking FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, the whole fucking thing. They caught up with me eventually, and I got arrested, and I went to prison. I was sentenced to 26 years. And although I think 26 years is ridiculous, I was absolutely guilty. It was so guilty. It was overwhelmingly guilty. And so 26 years is excessive, but I definitely needed to go to prison. So I go to prison. I end up going to the medium first for about 3 years. I start teaching the real estate class there because there's actually a program, and one of the classes that's taught is real estate. So I go there. I hang out. I'm incarcerated there for 3 years. It's a fucking horrible place, bro. I mean, it's just horrible. People are getting stabbed. There's fights every day. It's just horrible. Half the guys got fucking life sentences. It's just a depressing place to be. After 3 years, I get moved to the low. Because I never should have been in any of those facilities. I came in with my custody level was like a 3. So I should have gone straight to a camp, but I had too much time. You have to be under 10 years to go to a camp. So I go to the medium, 3 years. Then they move me to the low. So in the low, I start writing a memoir because by that point I'd been on a bunch of news programs. I've been on Dateline, American Greed, and I had people like I Almost Got Away with It, and all these companies writing me letters, but wanting to interview me. So all the guys are like, wow, you need to write a memoir because you're really good at telling the story, and it's a great story. And I'd always heard that my whole life. Like I'd had friends, we would be out and they would say, hey, they would start to tell a story about them, and they would say, Matt, you tell the story. You tell it better than I do. It's your fucking story. Why would I tell your story? But yet that happened over and over again. So I get to the low. I start writing my story. I write my story. It takes months. I end up reading a couple of books on how to write true crime, on how to write memoirs. And the thing about it is you really start to learn a lot about yourself, and how you see yourself and how other people see you. And, it's a learning experience, and it's humbling, and it's horrible. You end up coming to grips with just who you really are. And I'd never done that before. So I went through the process. I wrote the story. A lot of people read the story. A lot of guys like it. And I ended up writing another story about another guy and another guy and another guy. I got some guys into magazines. I was a part of the option, some of the stories, and I ended up, as eventually my sentence was reduced. So by that point I was already writing guys' stories non-stop. And the thing about writing the stories is that, everybody was helping me. Like all these inmates were helping me. Family members of theirs were doing research. Guys are looking stuff up for me. Guys' families are looking stuff up. Guys' families are taking the stories and reformatting them and sending them in, letting us do corrections and then making the corrections. And I mean, everybody is going out of their way to try and help me. For some, I don't even know why. I think that they just liked the idea of it, or maybe it gave them comfort, or I don't know. The worst thing about being in prison is that it's not really the time. I didn't have like really a family that I needed to get out to because I had been gone so long, and basically most of my family just gave up on me. Like they're just done with me. Fuck him. So My mom would come to see me. You know, and the worst thing about it is that they've got a powerful argument on why they don't want to see me or have anything to do with me, and I get that. I get that. I was luckier than most guys, because if you're a guy who's married with 2 kids and you go to prison, it's just agony. But I was lucky. I was able to kind of have my own little world inside of the prison, and I really became passionate about just writing these guys' stories, and I loved writing their stories. I loved researching, and I would order the Freedom of Information Act and put the whole thing together. And by the time I was done with most of these guys' stories, I knew more about their cases and their stories than they did. And so, and then, you know, the guys would read the stories, and then they'd pass them around. I would have guys coming up to me constantly, "Cox, you got any more stories? I just read this one." I'd never even talked to this inmate before. He just comes up to me, "Hey, you're Cox, right?" "Yeah." I'd say, "Yeah." He'd say, "Man, I just read that story, Pain. Fucking amazing, bro. You got any other stories like that? I read that other story you wrote too about this guy. That was good too. You got any more?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I got some more." And I would go get them, and they'd pass them around. They'd make copies of them, and you know, so you get to be kind of like a little celebrity. And I got better and better at it. And towards the end, as my sentence got reduced, I started realizing I was going to get out, and it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with you know, I can't. The judge made it very clear that I can't commit fraud anymore. So what I decide is I'm going to get out, and I'm going to try and get these stories turned into documentaries or series or movies or, you know, films, whatever. And I figured, you know, like a lot of guys you meet in prison, they go, "Well, when I get out, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that." And you know, life, and it's not that they don't mean it at the time. It's that life takes over. And you know, they get out and they get a girlfriend, and she's got a couple kids, and before you know it, they're moving in together, and he ends up getting a job at FedEx, and he has to take the daughter out, and he's got his kids from his previous wife, and before you know it, I mean, you just get bogged down, and they never really pursue their passions, you know, and maybe they're happy about that. I maybe they're not. I don't know. I can't tell you how many friends I have that, you know, they just love, like, they're perfectly happy watching some sitcoms every week and going to their kids' baseball games and soccer games, and they're just thrilled. That's all they want. It's all they talk about. You can't even have a conversation with them without them talking about their kids or this or that, and they're perfectly happy. And I just don't. That doesn't work for me. I envy those people. I figured, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get out and I'll bust my ass for a year and see if I can make this thing work. My buddy Pete, who was in there with me, and he was always helping me research stuff, and some of the stories he even wrote, like the subplot or the sub stories, you know, the kind of the background on a few of the stories, like American Narco. He wrote basically the story about the cartel that's kind of interwoven in the story. So I kept getting these guys asking me what I was going to do. I said, I'm going to get out. I'm going to fucking get these things made into movies. And, you know, and it sounds ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. But the way I see it, I got out I got out last year. It was 2019. So I was out of custody July 2019. And it's September right now. So I figured my original out date was 2030. So the way I look at it is I could really bust my ass for the next 10 years, and those are free years. Those are free. So it doesn't really matter. You know, it's just, I just don't want to get sidetracked. And it's easy to get sidetracked because I have had people come to me and offer me jobs, and, you know, decent jobs that would make decent money, but how do I work this job and still do what I really like doing and what makes me happy? Like, I'm really happy doing it. And I had millions of dollars before, and I had a brokerage business. I got like 12, 13 guys working for me. I've got tons of money, and, you know, and I was never as happy as I am right now. I was never as happy as I was in prison writing those stories. So I get out of prison with kind of a goal, you know, and I figured I'm going to get a website put together just to kind of put the stories out there. And I was going to get some of them narrated, maybe start a podcast, that sort of thing. And I remember my mom came and my brother came, and they picked me up, you know, right there at the prison. And I put myself in the car, and I get in the car with my mom, and my brother drives off, and it's my brother and sister-in-law and my mom, and we're driving off from the prison, and I started crying. And my brother said, you know, I'll bet you're glad to be out of that place. And the worst thing is that I was so uncomfortable leaving prison after 12 and a half years. After 12 years, I was just so, everybody I knew was there. I had great friends that were there. I had a great routine. Some of the best people I've met in my entire life were locked up in federal prison. So remember driving away, and I couldn't stop crying. And I remember thinking that, you know, I just felt like I was leaving, you know, I was leaving these guys behind, and it felt horrible. It felt horrible. I felt so uncomfortable for the first probably 3 or 4 months of being in the halfway house. And I went to the halfway house, and so I go to the halfway house, and I got there, and I called a friend of mine who owns a gym, who I grew up with. And I called him, and he was like, holy shit, you're out? Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? And he said, man, what do you need? And I said, do you need anything? And I said, I need a job. I went, when I got to the halfway house, I had some money, because when I was in prison, I had sold an option. One of my stories had gotten optioned, and New Line Cinema had optioned it. It was called, the book was Generation Oxy, but the actual story's on my website. It's called Oxy Rush. And it was in a Rolling Stone magazine. So we optioned the story. And so I had a little bit of money. I had about 2-3 grand. So I was able to buy a car, 6 months worth of insurance, and I had $300 because I had no clothes. I went to Walmart and I spent $300 on clothes in Walmart. Shoes, socks, underwear, a couple pair of blue jeans, and some t-shirts. I remember I got 10 black t-shirts for, was it 10 black t-shirts for like 20 or 30? It was like $2.50 for like a t-shirt, a black t-shirt. I still have them. They're great t-shirts. So I go to work at the gym, and while I was at the gym, I was talking to my buddy Pete. You know, he would call every once in a while, and I would email him, and he kept saying, hey, what are you doing with the stories? And I was like, well, I'm in the halfway house. I gotta wait till I save up some money. He's like, what do you mean? I thought you were gonna do a website. And I was like, I am gonna do a website, but I'm gonna do the website. I said, but I don't have any money. And he said, well, how much is a website? I said, well, okay, fuck it. It may be 50 or $100 to actually get the domain name and do the whole thing. And I didn't really know. I said, but I don't have any way to create a website. I don't have any way to do like a WordPress or whatever you have to do. And I don't know how to do any of that. I said, so I need, you know, he's like, well, what do you need? And I go, look, bro, I said, I need a computer. At the very least, I have to have a computer. I said, so I don't have one. I said, and I said, so, you know, he said, okay, I'll get you a computer. How are you going to get me a laptop? And he said, you know, Pete doesn't have any money. So he said, every time I walk across the compound at Coleman, he said, guys would stop him and say, how's Matt doing? And he would say, he's good, he's in the halfway house, he's got a job, he's saving money, he's doing fine. He goes, and they would always say, does he need anything? And Pete said, he always said, no, he's good, he doesn't need anything. He said from now on, he said, I'm going to start telling him, yeah, he needs something. He needs a fucking laptop. So I would say it took about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I had two MacBook Pros show up at the fucking gym. They were bought used. One guy had his mother get me one. And one guy, Pete, had a guy that bought me one. So I got that. Then I was talking to Pete one day and I was complaining about something, my cell phone or something. I'd gotten some fucked up phone and it had a virus and it was like an Android or something. It was the cheapest one you could buy for like 80 bucks. It came with a plan. I mean, it was horrible. And it immediately got a virus and kept shutting down. I couldn't get it get it fixed. And I was complaining about it. He goes, what's up? I said, man, my fucking phone, this and that. And I was complaining. He's like, oh, okay, so what do you need? I go, I don't know. He said, well, okay, first off, he goes, I'll get you another phone. I was like, are you fucking serious? He goes, yeah, what's an Apple? He goes, you should be getting all Apple products. Like, he's doing research in prison on what I need. So I'm building the website, and some guy in prison sends me $600 to get a fucking a new iPhone. I have another guy send me a couple $100 saying, look, you need to do this and get a website and go get a WordPress. And so Pete's in there doing research on what he thinks I should do. So basically, everything that I came up with while I was working at the gym, these guys in prison were sending me money to set up a website and to get the stories narrated and to try and move forward in some way. I end up with putting the website together and I'm in the halfway house and I'm working at the gym. And I'm only able to do the halfway or do anything on the computer while I'm at work because you're not allowed to have a computer in the halfway house. They just started letting people have cell phones. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to get a fucking job or stay in communication with anyone if you don't have a cell phone. They have employers calling you on the payphone. I start putting everything together and doing all the stuff I'm doing and slowly try and start making contacts to help me turn these stories into movies or series or documentaries, whatever. So I start to do all that, and that's what my focus has been. I end up getting out of the halfway house. I move into this spare room so I can keep my bills low, and I buy this piece of junk Jeep, and it's horrible, just falling apart. AC stopped working within a month or two. ABS stopped working. the radio stopped working. It was horrible. And I remember picking up, I was going to see my mom, and I had to pick up my ex-wife. She was there because we had to swap. She's like, can you drive me to get my car? And I forget what the reason was, but I was like, yeah, okay. So I take her to get her car, and she gets in my Jeep. So she gets in the Jeep, and we're driving down the road, and I mean, it's hot. And she goes, God, it's so hot. She said, can you turn on the AC? And she's flipping the switches and everything. I go, you want AC? And she goes, yeah. So I hit the switch and I roll the window down. She goes, what are you doing? I said, that's the AC. She goes, you don't have air conditioning? And I went, no. I said, oh, no. I said, it's rich people. That's a rich people thing. I'm not a rich person. This is my AC, the window. And she says, so as we're driving, she tries to turn on the radio. Well, the radio had a short in it. So you couldn't turn it on. It had a short, you had to hit the dash a couple times to get it to come on. And if any bump you hit in the road, it'd go back off. So we're driving down, she's like, can you turn on the radio? And I went, the radio? I said, yeah, all right, hold on. Boom, and I hit the fucking dash and boom, it comes right on. And she's like, oh my God. And I said, yeah. Oh, and then when I stepped on the brakes, all the lights light up on my dashboard. She's like, what's going on? I said, oh, that's the ABS, the brakes are out. I don't have ABS, so all the lights light up. She goes, oh my God, that's dangerous. I said, it's fine. And I remember she looked at me and she goes, because keep in mind, she knew me, I had plenty of money. She looked at me and she went, you have fallen so far. And I just started laughing. And I was like, right? And so that's basically what I do, what I'm doing. So that's kind of like so that's going to be the whole vlog thing, is that I'm just going to kind of explain what I'm doing, and as I go along, you know, what's happening. Like I did a concrete podcast that did really well. I did Valuetainment, I did Vlad, I did a bunch of podcasts. But then I kind of stopped, you know? Like if the guy that runs Concrete's named Danny, if Danny calls me and says, hey, can you want to do a podcast or whatever, or if I say, hey man, I need to do this on a podcast, can you know, we're cool. He's like, yeah, absolutely. But other than that, I haven't really tried to do anything. And I've never really reached out to anybody. Like everybody's contacted me. So I realized that I need to start really branching out. Like I had a real setback with the whole COVID thing. I had a deal that I thought I had a deal with like Netflix through this company called Blumhouse. That fell apart. I've had several things fall apart as a result of the COVID thing. And they may all pick back up. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm going to start kind of pushing myself to like, okay, start getting on podcasts. Start doing this. Start doing that. And one of the things I did was I recently took a couple months. I ended up taking one of the stories, the Frank Amadeo story called It's Insanity, which was just a synopsis that I'd written in prison that everybody loves. And I did a bunch more research and I turned that 17,000 word synopsis into like a 46,000 word book. And so I've got that book. I'm going to have to start promoting that. I'm going to have to I'm going to start pushing. I'm going to go to Los Angeles in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be on some podcasts there, and then I'm just going to start trying to promote myself and promote the book and start pushing a lot of this stuff because the COVID thing's kind of subsiding at this point, and I think it may go in the next few months. Hopefully it filters out, and you know, maybe everything's cool. So that's where I'm at. With the vlog here, I'm going to try and go a couple times a week and just kind of explain what I'm doing at that time. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm working on this. I'm working on that. Everything's not happening as fast as I want, but it is happening. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to push through it. And I guess this is it. I have no fucking idea how long this is. I might trim it down. Do me a favor. Let me know in the comment section, like, how long do you think these things should be? 10 minutes? An hour? I'm not doing a fucking hour. Anyway, look, do you think 10 minutes, 5 minutes? You think 25 minutes? What do you think what should it be? What should a vlog be? Basically, it's just me sitting here talking, saying, look, this is what I'm doing. I can tell you, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. And this is just something I'm going to try and do a couple times a week. And from now on, they'll just straight be videos about like what I'm currently doing. Like, hey, this is what happened yesterday, this is what I'm doing today, and then that's it. The next one, they'll be much quicker, and I'm sorry if I talk too long. And I'm working on it. I'm working on trying to make eye contact with the lens and all the other things that I'm doing wrong. See ya.